We on there?
Yep.
Good evening. I'm Jerry McIntosh, and this is Our Voices, the People's Media. Tonight, we are going to address a lot of issues. One definitely is the running of Kamala Harris for President of the United States. But before we do that, we'll go to our host, Mr. Derek Scott, who is with the chair of the Democrat Party here. Mr. Bill Snow was the author of the great book, From the Project to the Boardroom, and I don't see our ladies tonight. Are they off tonight, Derek?
No,
Jill logged in for a minute. I don't know where she went, but she logged in for a minute.
Yeah. And we have a special guest with us tonight, Mr. Larry Williams, who is running for, again, rerunning for Emory Coast Utility Authority. We want to thank him for being on with us tonight. Derek, I'm going to put it in your hand.
Okay, good evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning in with us tonight. As Mr. McIntosh said, we are fortunate enough to have with us this evening our wonderful and incumbent who has graciously served the Escambia County in Northwest Florida as Emerald Coast Utility Authority board member for District 3. I would like to introduce to some and reintroduce to others, Mr. Larry Williams. And I'm going to ask Mr. Williams to say hello and tell us a little bit about yourself and your candidacy, if you don't mind.
Well, hello. Thank you all so very much for this opportunity to come on such a esteemed show and be a guest. I appreciate the opportunity, and I know most of you all, and I trust I'll get to know your listening audience this evening. I am, as you said, seeking re-election to the Emerald Coast Utility Authority, commonly known as ECUA, for District 3. And during over the last 3.5 years as I've served, I think you wanted a little background on me prior to what brings me here to this point in life. And really that is, I'm a product of the community called Wedgwood for 2 generations now. Prior to that, went to public schools in the area and joined the United States Navy and saw the world, did everything that was required of me in that service. And then in the process, matriculated with some education from Southern Illinois, Webster University, and was attending Florida A&M for a terminal degree. However, the opportunity to serve became available, and when opportunities come, you got to do the very best you can to capitalize on them. So we took advantage of the opportunity and have been using that knowledge in the process ever since. And so that's kind of, in addition to other things we've done, brings us to where we are as we sit on the board with ECUA, basically advocating on a monthly basis for the good citizens and the good people of District 3.
So Larry, what all do your position entails?
Okay, very good, very good. We have to say that's a great question, great way to start this conversation from a informational perspective. We principally have 3 responsibilities. We're responsible for water, potable water to residents, businesses, and generally in the area of Escambia County. Wastewater, getting that water from your house discharged out into our wastewater treatment plants. And then lastly, sanitation, where we remove all the garbage that you have to throw away. So that's principally our 3 areas of responsibility. One thing that's very important, I think, for anybody who needs to know about ECUA, as we talk about why they raise rates, is we do not have a tax base like the county or the school board. The only way we can pay for the services that we provide is by the money we collect from the customers to pay for those services. So every year, as inflation impacts the nation, as inflation impacts residents, it also impacts businesses at ECUA. And this year, particularly, the chemical prices have went up quite a bit, and we did our very best to keep price increases as low as possible, but nevertheless couldn't keep them without going up to keep track of the cost of doing business.
Hey, brother Larry, how you doing, man?
Hey man, how we doing, bro Bill?
Good, man. It's a pleasure to have you on the Our Voices format for our show this evening. Hey, I just want to touch base with you. I've been reading some things, and I saw on the news just I think this past week, whereas there's a situation with the water downtown across from the Wahoo Stadium. Can you elaborate any on what's going on with that situation there?
Uh, I would have to tell you that I am not aware of a negative situation that's affected our water anywhere in in the jurisdiction. Sometimes we have water outages, and I'm not quite sure the article you're referring to, but I could assure you the way that process works is if we have any issues with water, and it's a known issue with water, we have crews of personnel who are 24 hours, 7 days a week, nonstop to do the necessary repairs to repair any potable water issues, even if there is a sewage problem where we have wastewater issues. Same thing, same way it works. If we have any problems, one thing I can say good about working with ECUA, the personnel there are professionals, right? Problems with water, wastewater, even sanitation get resolved as soon as they're brought to the attention of staff. So I'm not sure what it is, but I can tell you if it's a known issue in the downtown area that just occurred most recently, that we're actively working on it, and you'll follow up on Monday to see what that report says.
Larry, let me ask you this: do you know the reason why the ECUA, like other entities, don't have a tax base? Do you know? Or what
Well,
would the
ECUA was formed in 1981
mm,
as a special district. In other words, our legislators passed legislation to create ECUA. And the other county commissioners, is part of the makeup of every county in the state of Florida. And so it's a school board. But when we were created, we were not included or made a part of uh, any previous tax base. And I think that's a little more complicated to do. And so since our inception, the way we've paid our bills, we got the contract from the county. It used to be owned by the county. And prior to that, it used to be owned by private organizations. An interesting story I like to tell, I'm very proud of this young fella, is when I was growing up, there was a Dean Sanitation, a Black-owned sanitation company in my area. And later, that company was sold to the county bought it from the city, and the guy who's in charge, so long story short, the guy who's in charge of sanitation now at ECUA started with his father at Dean Sanitation, went to the city, went to the county, and now he's the head guy at ECUA. So we know sanitation pretty good, and in addition, Dean Sanitation still lives at ECUA.
and the I guess the taxes that you have to put on people is not a tax, but I know it's you have to raise funds for to get the product that you need to get, get water to people's houses. I don't think people know the chain of command that goes into it, what all it entails. Like from when it's coming out of the ground to the wells, um, and the treatment that it has to go through, and then shooting that water through the water mains on into up to the water meter and on into your house. I don't think people know what all that entails and what it means, how to clean that water, the water so it'll be drinkable. I don't think they understand how much goes into that.
No, they probably don't. I can tell you, in all honesty, I didn't, and before becoming a board member. But for the benefit of the listening audience, one thing that we're blessed with here in Northwest Florida is aquifers, where we have underground water, fresh water that is constantly available. So we are able to have wells. We've got 28 active wells where we go, I think, 200 feet down to the aquifer and tap into fresh water. So when the water is raw, we test the water. When it comes up out of the well, we test the water. And then we start the process of purifying the water before it becomes available to be drank, used for whatever purposes in your house. But what you need to know is it's tested like 150 times
Mm-hmm.
in the process. Fire hydrants, water fountains, even anywhere there's a public outlet of water is tested. But those test results are sent to the Department of Environmental Protection, where they are scrutinized, and if anything is questionable or questioned, then the Florida Department of Environmental Protection is allowed to come and say, hey, let us rerun these tests. And we also have to have those tests printed in an annual booklet that gives the citizens the knowledge of our water quality. And that's based upon EPA standards. And running, we have never had an issue with water. Matter of fact, here recently, as they talk about the PFAS, that never-ending chemical, we have been way out in front on PFAS as a problem in water, and we put in carbon galvanized carbon filters to treat those in most of our plants where we saw some of that has been an issue, and so we take water very seriously, as we do those other non-sexy topics that we have to deal with, such as wastewater and sanitation. But we treat it like it's our job, and do it to the best of our ability. So that's kind of what the water treatment process is like. And if you ever question your water, any listening audience member, then ECUA is willing to come out and test your water also. And remember, usually if it's a problem with your water, it should be a problem with your neighbor's water, just simply because once it goes past a meter, it's a homeowner's issue. On the other side of the meter, closest to the street, then it's an ECUA issue, and that should affect more than this you. But we are always so encouraged to investigate your concerns so that we can make sure you have peace of mind about the product ECUI is providing.
Hey, Brother Larry, the bottled water industry is $1 billion a year industry, if not the trillion. What would you say is the primary difference between me going in that kitchen and turning my tap on and drinking that water as opposed to bottled water? Because there's so many off brands that I know it can't be that much different. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Yes, the biggest difference is who regulates the water. EPA regulates the potable drinking water, and another agency, and I almost wanted to say, but I'm not quite able to quote the other agency, like Food and Drug Administration or something regulates, and I think that it is who it is, regulates bottled water. Regulations are the same, no difference. Our water, as I said earlier, has to pass federal EPA legislation in order to be deemed potable, able to be drunk. And again, in Northwest Florida, we're blessed with freshwater aquifers, which gives us an advantage that they don't have in other regions of the state. So I'm always concerned about that information relative to our seniors, those who are on fixed incomes, and they may buy bottled water, not knowing the quality of water that they can get out of their faucets in their homes. And I can assure you that I drink the water out of the faucet. I've been drinking it my whole life, quite honestly, and some people don't, but it's just as good. And we can give you a report, right? We can give you a report, an annual report that states the quality of the water from ECUA as opposed to the standards set by EPA, and the standards that we obtain. And so far, so good. We're producing a good product.
Do you think that the big water companies that some people just have to have are no more than putting regular tap water in those bottles selling it?
I won't say what they're doing. I will say that it's a money-making industry, and it's not hard to make money in that industry. And many times, as there's so many different reports, right, that come out about different issues, it's hard to know who to believe. I think we've had a false narrative printed on our industry, ECUA, 10, 20, 15 years ago that was proven false. But yet I've seen that circulate within my tenure, and it's like you just have to say that's hogwash. That was never true. So it shouldn't still be around, but it is. And so once you get a bad report, then sometimes it sticks better than the truth. And the truth is, the water is drinkable that comes out of your faucet, passes every standard set by the Environmental Protection Agency, and is tested over 150 times. Test results go to the Florida Department of Environmental Protections, and they have the right, as does the EPA, to at any point in the process check to verify our results. And to this day, our results are good.
No doubt in my mind that that tap water that I drink is good. Like you say, we were
Yes,
raised
sir.
on it.
Yes, sir.
But it's just this psychological thing that people really think that name brand water is spring water that has been ran through these
Yeah.
different tests, and it's just
and
naturally
and
better for you. So
that
hey,
is definitely not true. The different tests, there are no different tests. If anything, there may be, they don't, the taste test would be the only thing. Taste. But as far as the quality of the water with impurities being taken out, extracted, fluoride being put in there, and the things that are required, we have to do. We have to. Matter of fact, that's part of the cost for Razor and Race, because some of these chemical companies have really stuck it to us in the cost of the chemicals necessary to make sure that your water is drinkable and stays up to standards. And in those cases, we have no other choice but to purchase the product and to pass that cost on to our paying customer.
So, Larry, let me ask you this: we using chlorine in the water here, or is it? Are we not? And lime.
Lime, yes. Fluorine, I want to say yes also.
Uh,
I want to say yes to both of those.
okay. Yeah, and how many employees do ECUA have as of now? You know.
We got over close to a $200 million budget, approximately close to 650, 700 employees, um, and that's really, I can't give you a good breakdown in the different departments, but I can tell you generally the number of employees and the overall budget.
Mm.
Unless you wanted me to go back and get the specifics, of course I can do that.
Yeah, I know you can. I was just trying to get an estimate of
Yeah,
that.
that's
No,
generally the
and,
ballpark
and
numbers.
the reason I was asking that is because most people don't know how many people it takes to bring water from the aquifers to the wells, and the drilling that you have to do, and the water mains that have to be put in. And as we build more houses and in these areas, we're going to need more wells. That means it's going to cost more money, more sewage, more treatments, facilities, and lift stations, and all of that to carry that the water and sewage back to where it need to be dumped and then classified, I would say. So I'm and working for the water system at one time, I know that where I retired from anyway, that what it costs and what it takes to get water to people's houses. Because before I started working for the water system, I was like, why do they charge for water? Water should be free. But when you see what it all goes into making sure that water is clean, what has to be done, the inspections of the water, the regulatory part of it to make sure that is environmentally tested, so that people can drink that water. If not, you'll be drinking sand and everything else.
Yeah,
Pouring
one of the things
out of the ground.
one of the things you make a good point about, Bill, is they used to have the waste treatment plant downtown, as we all know, and we moved that, and growth took off downtown. That the the infrastructure that you don't see is underground, and now that wastewater treatment has to travel via gravity and lift station all the way to Cantonment now, to where the wastewater treatment facility is located. So when you talk about the cost, we travel. They say we have over 2,000 miles of pipe underground that transfers wastewater from, as far as gravity take it, then have to use a lift station to get it up higher so gravity can get back in the game, and then to keep getting it up higher with another lift station until it gets to the treatment plant. And then it goes through the process of being treated and cleaned, quite honestly, so that it could be perhaps reused, but you just can't get rid of dirty water, right? It's just not that simple. We just get rid of dirty water, but the wastewater treatment plants actually cleans the water up very well to where it could be used on golf courses and in other industries that would need a coolant or type of water for a coolant, not for the drinking, everything except for drinking. So that's the process roughly for wastewater treatment, as well as the water system. Like I say, as we come up out of the aquifers through the tanks, and as you're talking about not Brownsville, excuse me, over in the area where the growth is taking place, uh, in up on the west side of Northwest Beulah, in the Beulah area, where we've had to build new purchase land. First, you got to start off with purchasing land, Jerry. Then you've got to purchase the equipment to put on the land to help facilitate the growth in the area, and that's kind of what we're doing. And I give the guys a lot of credit for thinking ahead and trying to be proactive about what we have to do to stay out of the news about bad water or wastewater problems, as some other parts of the country have been in the news for. We do keep our fire mains, water mains, lift stations repaired, tested, and making sure that they work. And in cases of emergency, which is one of the other things that you have to consider in times of emergencies, hurricanes, and those kind of things, being able to work in those hazardous conditions to where you don't create any additional problems due to wastewater or the likes.
One other thing, do you know if most of the iron pipe going from the water meter to people house has that been a problem? Do have most people exchange that out? Because we know that iron pipe builds up a residue that restricts water. So, do you know whether most of the houses now have PVC or polyurethane now here in Escambia County?
I think polyurethane was outlawed. PVC, you're talking about the pipes that ECUA would
Yeah.
provide.
Well,
Our
say for instance, plumber have to come. I know y'all the PVC comes all the way up to the water meter, or well, the polyurethane is that rubber pipe that
Yeah,
comes.
if I'm not mistaken, I think that was outlawed. That's that dark gray pipe. It was kind of brittle, and
No,
I
no,
don't think.
no. It's the black flexible.
Okay,
it might be called something else. I know.
okay,
Because it probably is called something else, but that's what we used to call it. But
okay. Well,
anyway, a lot of iron pipe is still in the ground in some areas, which you know it might have lead in that as well.
we talked about lead back when the Detroit area was having their issues
Mhm.
with the lead, and our pipes and our water is tested for lead, and we do not have lead as a major contaminant in any of our water pipes as we test for it. So I want to say we do not have a potential problem with lead being a contaminant impacting households in Escambia County.
Can I want to focus just a little bit on you have an upcoming election. So
Yes,
people are going to be voting for you on the 20th.
yes.
I'm going to ask two questions. The first question is, what are, if any, do you feel your top three priorities for ECUA would be if you're reelected, as well as, and more specifically for District 3? And my second question is, what sets you apart from your candidate that's run, or from the other candidate that's running against?
Let's say when I am reelected,
Mhm.
we will make the priorities similar to the ones we have now. One thing about being an elected official and most jobs really is it takes a little time to actually get in there, see a couple budget cycles, see how business is done, visit the different departments, know how the operations take place, and to get a good sense of what it is that's actually being talked about when and before you vote on it. And so we've gained that corporate knowledge on the operations of ECOA. And one of the things that I was surprised by as we've been talking about cost is the cost of many of the products that we provide for customers at ECUA. And one of the things we want to continue to provide is septic to sewer expansion, and that is where people who are on septic tanks in communities in the urban core who would like to have sewer in their areas, we want to be able to provide that. Now that's an expensive proposition per household. Something like right now after COVID, it's a $30,000 per household install. They will never pay ECUA that much money. So it is for the good of infrastructures for ECUA to do that, and is helping community citizens, those who may be on fixed incomes, realize that this is to their good, raises your property value and those things. So that's one of the things we want to do. Another one would be we would like to get a black or brown contractor to receive one of these contracts that we're oftentimes awarding, right? And in Florida, there is no law that says you have to have black or brown portions of a contract for public monies or private money for that matter. And so it's just a matter of bringing black and brown contractors to the table, doing the prerequisite paperwork, doing themselves qualified to do that work, and then advocating for them to be given an opportunity. And that's one of the things we like to see. And then we like to see a black engineer at ECUA. So those are the kind of things that we are constantly talking to staff about, the executive director, and seeing if we can't get people in places that they haven't been before.
It sounds like it's a lot of discrimination going on within the system itself as far as hiring of blacks and black contractors because there, like you say, there is no law that mandates that you have to hire or contract with black and brown contractors and blacks contractor in particular.
Well, it's easy to say the discrimination, but I can also tell you that I haven't seen the competition. I haven't seen them come do the necessary paperwork to get in a position to bid on a contract. So they're not even in the game yet, right? So we need to get some contractors in the game who have the experience and know-how to do the work that's particular for ECA, whether that's a lift station, whether that's putting a water main in the ground, a fire main in the ground, those kind of things, or doing some repair work at wastewater treatment plants, et cetera, et cetera. And so I haven't seen any that have come before ECUA, and if we can get the word out to where even if you've got to, team up with some other contractors to have the necessary skill set to put in a bid, then I would like to see you at least put in a bid. Then we can say well how the process works, whether it's discriminatory or what. But to date, I can't say that it's discriminatory because I can't say that I've had anybody try to bid on a contract.
So I'm how is the outreach though from management's point of view? How's the
You know,
outreach?
I'm your guy, right? I'm your guy because that's a question I ask, and we're getting in touch with Florida A&M, Alabama State, and the local HBCUs, then the black engineering groups that they may have. And so we're pressing them on that. Okay, we are pressing them on on breaking down barriers, reaching out to people. We're on since we've come on board. We're now offering job and career opportunities on Choice 106.9 WRNE 980 on Tuesdays, every Tuesday at 7:20 a.m. And so that's a change number one to where now we have more people knowing about ECUA, the job opportunities, career opportunities that they offer. And we've had some people call our HR department, go through the process of filling out applications because of that outreach. So we're going to continue to find ways to reach out to where we can expand. And Florida A&M shares their engineering program with Florida State. So we've just got to keep the press on and let them know that's one of those things that we are advocating for in District 3, and that's what I like to see during my tenure.
and why are you the better choice as opposed to your candidate? What sets you apart? Why, as when people go on August the 20th and starting here in the next couple of weeks when early voting begins, why are they selecting Larry Williams?
Well, Larry Williams has basically advocated for the good people of District 3, uh, even before he was an elected official. And now, as an elected official, he has continued to advocate for what would benefit the citizens. And also, we do a Sunday broadcast on Choice 106.9 ourselves to inform as well as make sure we're transparent about the business and the benefits of being a ECUA ratepayer. So we are constantly, as we know, making sure that the residents and the citizens know. And then we visit them, answer all their questions. We've answered every call. And in any time that it has been within ECUA's policy or my power to do so, we have helped resolve their issues and concerns. We visited them in their churches, their community centers, their civic, social organizations, at sporting events, made myself available as I have in the past. And so that's really one of the benefits of local candidates generally, I could say generally in District 3 is to be available. You know, as I say, I've been around and I haven't let them down to this point. And my plan is to continue to do those things that would benefit the citizens and constituents of District 3 in the years to come.
I must add that it is not rare to see Brother Larry Witt show up at any event in our community. He is very active in the communities, and that's a great thing.
Now, I thank you, Bill. I really do appreciate that, and we do it because we really we want to be available. You know, I kind of enjoy rubbing shoulders with the Bill Snows of our community and others. And not only that, you get to see what's going on before it hits the headlines. And if there's something that you can do to try to before your next meeting to have a discussion, even a forward-thinking discussion, then you want to do that. Or if somebody has a concern for you, they don't necessarily always have to call, right? At least you can give them your business card and they can call you at their convenience, but they know that they can contact you. If they just get around, then he's going to get around too. And we'll have a small conversation leading up to the conversation we want to have. And if they know of any ways that can help District 3, you know, we're all about that business too. So our principal responsibility is what we cater to, but we're also concerned about the community of District 3 as well and want to see good things, big things, transformative things happen here in this area. That's one of the things we like to see. We'd like to see something big happen in District 3 while I'm serving, whether it's in the capacity of ECUA or as the community at large. I'd like to see something big that could be transformative for the next generation here in District 3.
You said something at the top of the show about learning the budget. You know, you have to be in there probably a couple of years to learn everything that's going on as far as how the budget works, what has to be the water lines that has to be put in, the areas in which all of these things are done, and the cost overrun on some of the stuff that you put in. So your opponent would be like 4 years behind if that person was to somehow get elected to office, and we would be starting all over again behind the eight ball. So, what is your thoughts?
Well, if anybody's ever attended one of our ECUA meetings, I'm a proactive part of the agenda. I do my work before the meeting. I prepare my questions before the meeting. And if there's something that I don't know or don't understand or does not necessarily represent District 3 the way I think it should, if in this particular case, it may be something that benefits another district, then we will bring that up as a question. And you have to have a genuine uh, desire to see your district prosper and be uh, have the great quality of life for the services that you can provide. And I don't necessarily know if time will fix that. So, and I had said I wasn't going to say nothing about my opponent, right? I have, to the best of my ability, I'm right where I've always wanted to be. I have a record to run on, a record in which I can say I have advocated well for District 3. We have done the work week in and week out. As I said, answered every call within my power to do so. We've had ECA policy to address their concerns, visited them, and we don't feel like we're no ways tired, where we have a plan to continue until we can get something at a large scale done. Some of these things that we talked about as far as goals and objectives done, and we're on the cusp of that. One of the things that if I had a concern about my opponent, it is, I think, as you all are going to talk about later, is voting. Is not a question that we're going to vote the ticket or we're going to vote in good numbers in November. But I have to make sure that the voting public knows my November is August the 20th. That is the end of the road for this race. So that person, myself, will win on August the 20th. So every vote counts now. Early voting has already started. Vote by mail has already started. Early voting starts on August the 11th, and it will end on August the 20th. So if we can make it crystal clear for the voting public that now is the time to vote for Larry Williams, and let's continue to grow together towards November and 2025 and beyond. That would be the most important statement that I'm trying to get people to see and understand between now and August 20th.
So I think I want to ask my question a little differently. I'm going to try to phrase it in a different sense. To your point, everybody's focused on November, but your election, as you mentioned, is August 20th. I think with what I'm looking to hear from you, I guess a little bit more in depth, is with this election has for District 3 voters has two Democrats on it. And so for those who may see the two and they're like, okay, well, I don't know that it matters one way or the next, or I'm choosing the first name on the ballot. What is your push to get them to say, nope, go to the second name? Where do you see yourself, I guess, from a direction standpoint, for those in District 3, and more specifically, why you will not, you don't have to speak negatively. I'm just so that people get an understanding.
I from my perspective, I'm not going to be outworked. So you're not going to outwork me for the citizens of District 3. I'll do the homework to come up to speed on the issues affecting District 3. I will be around the good people of District 3 to know what their issues and their concerns are. And we have been doing those things. I think the biggest thing I'm trying to say, I'm the incumbent, and I have a record to run on, in which I'm actually glad to say that we've put septic to sewer conversion in Brownsville, Lee Street, and a couple more places. You know, these are million. Brownsville, $13 million. Lee Street, $1 million project, and they're going to improve the quality of life for the residents in that area. And another thing that you understand is public infrastructure leads private investment. So once we put in these septic to sewer conversion or expansion programs, then the investors will come wanting to build up those areas for businesses and homes. And so we're advocating for the heart of District 3, or the heart of Escambia County, which is District 3, to continue to grow and lead the in that area, particularly with septic to sewer expansion. And we've had some levels of success over the course of years, just advocating, talking to the administration, letting them know where our heart and our desires lie for the good people of District 3. Um, Other than advocating for them hard, advocating for them strong, advocating for them with a sense of passion, and looking to get some resolution out of those processes, if not today, put it on the record for tomorrow, then that's it. I don't know what my opponent has done. I don't know if he will ever do anything. I can't say much about his record of service in any capacity. So so I think the choice is clear. I didn't just start as a board member to serve my community. I've been doing this quite a long time. If you go back to days in the military, and if you even go further back to when I saw my father and my neighbors doing it out here in my community. So it kind of comes natural at this point for me. It's where I've been most of my life, and so I want to see what's best for District 3 come to fruition in my lifetime. I want to lay the groundwork for these little children, these little kids I see in my neighborhood coming up behind me when I wasn't thinking about it, right? I wasn't thinking about it at all. But their parents and neighbors, they were working on it. And so I want to be about that business myself when they're not thinking about it, but I want to be working on it. So when they come to a point in their life to say, it's our time, it's our turn, that they're ready to continue to move the ball forward.
We didn't, Jill and Cheryl Moran is with us this evening. We didn't get a chance to introduce you at the top of the show, but I know that you all probably gonna have some questions. If not, I'll let Jill wrap it up. Go ahead, y'all.
Cheryl, do you have a question?
Sorry, I had to try to figure out how to unmute. No, actually, I don't. They did a good job asking all the questions.
Okay, great. I have one question before we wrap things up. Well, I have a couple of questions. My first question is, has your opponent been at any of the meetings that you have recalled or that you could recall? I know you're busy.
Simple answer is no. I won't even, no.
Okay. And
No.
then that's fine. And then I would ask, when you decided to do this, I don't know, it's just a different job. I'm sitting here thinking, and you're giving so much information. I'm like, what made you want to do that? Like, of all the things you could do, why did you go in and say, this is where I want to be? I'm going to save our water, make sure it's clean.
Yeah.
And help
I wanted to set this job in public office, right? No, I was actually asked to do this job. I had previously wanted to do something different. but I was asked to do this, and so I took it on with the passion of anybody who wants to serve, and we decided to do it, and it's a good fit for me and my skill sets. Quite honestly, ECUA is a lot like being in the Navy, right? It's dirty work, but you can see your results at the end of the day. And sometimes you got to grind it out. You got to train your relief. You got to have good leadership. You got to think about the money it's going to cost you. And at the end of it all, it's getting that product to the end user. And and so we see a lot of what we're used to doing. A lot of these guys and girls have to do, and so dirty work doesn't bother me. It's just that making sure they have the tools they need to do the work, making sure they're trained to do the work, making sure they have opportunities to advance in the work, and then making sure that the end user, the consumer, is satisfied with the product. So that's kind of what that daily motivation is, and so far that's how it's been working up to now.
So as we're getting ready to transition into the rest of the show, we're so thankful that you came on tonight. You did answer a little bit about what you want to leave the viewing audience with. If you could share one more time, what's the last thing? What do you want them to take away? Obviously, you want them to go August 20th and vote for you, or do it through vote by mail or early voting. And how can they volunteer, give you money, help propel you to the
Yeah. We have a still working on our Act Blue account, where we have a Cash App, and we have a phone number, an official phone number, 850-292-7139. It's also on our ECUA website. I could be contacted with is 850-292-7139. And we're going to be doing some, I like campaigning, right? I like, as you say, I've been around, I ain't gonna let you down. I will go back out to the streets to make sure that people know that we have a primary candidate and that we want their vote. But more importantly, we have grown in this job, right? We have grown in this job to the benefit of a District 3. So the takeaway is, let's continue to grow together and produce some more of that end product that we've been working on, and see some things that haven't been done at ECUA get done during my tenure, and we'll continue to come back to the citizens with information and transparency, talking about what we know, so that they can be more involved. Now, I'll tell you this, since this is a big audience with a big platform, I'll tell you what I've been missing at ECUA from the audience's perspective. Most people come to ECUA with their individual concerns. Very few people come with a planned and organized problem or something they want for ECUA to do for their community. So when communities show up, you don't just show up. You can be a community from District 3, but now you're not just a community from District 3. You're a community for the board to see. And now the board has to know, this is an issue in that community. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do? And most times than not, we're not asking for favors. We're just asking for what's right and what we fairly can ask for as it relates to what ECUA can do. And so I would like to see more of that, right? I would like to see more of that in the year ahead, so that I can get in front of that wagon and say, hey, that's exactly what they need. Not what he needs or she needs. That's what they need. And that's what we should be doing for them. And I need your help listening audience to do those kind of things in the years to come.
Again, thank you so much. We are going to transition into the rest of our show. You are more than welcome to stay and join us and join in the conversation. We'd love to have you. We wish you the best in your election, August 20th. And you're welcome to come and visit us anytime on the show, Sunday nights. And just really, truly want to say thank you so much. Thank you for your service and thank you for coming.
Thank you all so very much. If it's okay, I would just be honored to hang out with such a distinguished group of individuals talking about the issues of the day, and if nothing else, just to listen.
You're welcome to do so.
Okay, thank you.
All righty, everybody. That is Larry Williams with us, running for ECUA Ward District 3. So all those District 3 individuals who are ready to vote, remember, you cannot wait until November. We must have an engaged and active participation in this year's primary process. I know everybody's excited. Let's make sure we show that excitement by certainly going out. Early voting starts here in Escambia County August 10th. If you are signed up for vote by mail, those ballots have already gone out. And let me just say, if you are one of those individuals in our viewing audience who used to be signed up for vote by mail and you have not yet gotten a ballot, whether you're in Escambia, Santa Rosa, Okaloosa, or Walton County, those ballots have already gone out. What you can do is call your local supervisor of elections in Escambia County. That number is 850-595-3900, and tell them, hey, I need a vote by mail ballot. And remember to tell them that you want it for all elections through 2024. And they will send you one oftentimes the very next day. It takes 3 minutes to do. Again, that's 850-595-3900. I don't have Santa Rosa's number right in front of me. But Jill, if you have yours, maybe you can share what yours is, and by the time you do, I'll figure out Santa Rosa's.
And I should have that telephone number for you, but I do not.
That's okay, I got it. I'm quick with it. If you are in Santa Rosa County, the office for Supervisor of Elections is 850-983-1900. Again, that's 850-983-1900. Or if you're in Okaloosa, that is 850-689-5600. So that, again, that's 850-689-5600. I apologize. I don't know what Walton's number is, but I'm sure if you Google Walton County Supervisor of Elections, they'll have that information for you. But Larry absolutely needs your support this August in this election primary. You have up until August the 8th to request a vote by mail ballot. So it is not too late. Call your SOE and have them ship you one on. And remember, it's all elections through August 2024. Turning it back over to you.
And experience count.
Absolutely.
So you gonna do the round table, Derek?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Before we do the round table, I just want to give everybody as we've kind of gotten away from it, but it's come up a lot here recently, and I want to make sure that everybody still aware that COVID is still out there. Right now, it is in an uptick. Those of you all who are listening to us in the Panhandle, I'm sure that you've heard of at least 5 people recently that have been diagnosed with COVID or are suffering the effects of COVID right now. And I will share with you that there is a new strain that is finding itself a little bit stronger than what our current vaccines have been manufactured for. So please make sure that you continue to practice social distancing if and when at all possible. Make sure you wear a mask if and when at all possible. I know a few folks still do, and we still get the strange looks. In fact, somebody, I was just somewhere this weekend and somebody said, why do you have on a mask? Oh, it was at our event Friday, and somebody asked, why do you still have on a mask? And I'm like, because this has not yet gone away. So please make sure you be safe and responsible for that. And with that, we will go through our round table. And I will start with you, Mr. McIntosh. What do you have for us today?
Just want people to, we are recruiting members for Moving for Change. We hope to get more volunteers for Moving for Change, and we are looking forward to doing working within the community to help get people registered, and many other things that we do as far as getting information on agencies, so people can, if they call, we can direct them where they need to go. And that's kind of where I'm at with the round table today.
Okay. Thank you for that. And welcome, Christina. How are you today?
I am fired up and ready to go after that amazing kickoff everybody had over the weekend in Escambia and Okaloosa. I mean, I'm ready. I'm like excited. So I hope everybody else is excited. It's great to be here.
Cheryl, what do you have for us today? Anything that we need to know? Some good stuff, I'm sure.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I have a bunch of things. As you know, I am Haley Morissette's campaign manager. So we are going strong in the campaign. We are looking for more volunteers, more donations, and for people to be a part of the movement to run like hell. So if you are tired of the same old, and you want to change in your government as it pertains to State House District 2, please run like hell to the polls and vote for Haley Morissette for State House District 2. I also have a project that I've been working on. I am releasing a song. It is a song called Road to Unity, and it is a collaboration with local Pensacola artists and producers, and it releases and will be available on all streaming platforms this Friday. So I'm excited about that.
All right. Yes. All right. Now, I understand that you had, or no, let's talk about what you have coming up. Is there something coming up on the 9th that you want to?
Yes, I'm glad you asked. So on August 9th, the Haley Morissette campaign will be filming a music video for Road to Unity at our campaign office, which is 2618 Martin Luther King Drive. Okay, Suite C. There's a beautiful gazebo and some beautiful grounds out there. So we will have a film crew out, and we will be filming a music video for Road to Unity. So come on out. We need everybody out and holding up your Run Like Hell signs and wearing your Run Like Hell t-shirts and being a part of Pensacola history.
And what day is that again?
That is August 9th. So this Friday, the song is being released. The following Friday will be the music video. And be sure to tune in to 107.3 tomorrow between 5 and 6 p.m. because the song, it will be an exclusive airing of the song Road to Unity during the DJ Hale Queens Mix.
All right. Jill, I saw your hand go up earlier. Did you have a question or are you about to say something?
But she fixed it. I was just going to say to Fabulous Cheryl that some people, even though everybody knows Hale and Haley, as you all call her, what was she running for? So you told them. That was the only reason I had my hand up, just to share so they know where exactly they're running like Hale too.
All right. Well, thank you, Cheryl. Mr. Bill Snow, what do you have?
Really quick, August 3rd, Saturday morning, 9 o'clock a.m., Community House of Prayer, Jerry McIntosh, the Forum 2025, Project 2025. Then Saturday evening, Cindy Martin, Brownsville Community Center, that thing with Trayvon Martin's mother. So everybody, please join us for both of those events. This coming Saturday, August 3rd, 9 a.m., then 6 o'clock p.m.
Yeah. Now, Bill, that's something that we're all participating in?
I would love, yeah, I didn't get a response, but yes, sir. Jerry,
Okay.
this panel would be awesome, man. I got got the Julie Spaniels, who was on our show with Move to Amend.
Okay.
That's going to join the panel. But yes, sir, yes, indeed. If you guys could, man, that would be awesome.
Okay. I think we had planned to come. I think we just didn't hit the yes, we're coming. So we saw it and we put it in the calendar. So
awesome. Looking forward.
we've all talked about it. So good. Jill, what do you have?
So do you want us to talk about the events now, or are we doing
No,
that?
do it afterwards.
You heard that big no. He's like, no, he wants you guys to have to wait. So in Okaloosa County, a couple of exciting things going on. We have a new Democratic Black Caucus of Okaloosa County president. His name is John Armour. He was the sitting first vice, and we just want to welcome him. If you are in Okaloosa County and interested in being a part of the Democratic Black Caucus, please reach out. You can go to okaloosadbc@gmail.com. And we will be having our first meeting with our new president the second Monday in August. And further details will come out because I'm not sure if he's going to keep the same time, but he is excited. He has a lot of passion, and there's so much work to be done and so much energy and excitement that I can't wait for everything to come together. We also are Okaloosa DEC. Our chair is Davy Jones. Our first vice is Lisa Huntsman. And that team together is pulling volunteers together. We're getting lots of volunteers. They're going out to knock on doors. They are making phone calls, and he has a new way he's looking at things. He's going to reach out to the new voters and follow them all the way to the polls. So if you talk to myself and I call you and welcome you to Okaloosa County, then you will also talk to myself to make sure that you signed up for vote by mail. You will also talk to myself to make sure that you went to the polls, or if you're having any questions or any issues, to try to give more of a personal follow through to make sure that we can kind of get more people to the polls. So we're excited in Okaloosa County. We'll share some details on that later, but really just, this is a great time to be a Democrat. It just really is. And I'm saying that it's a great time to be a Democrat. And there is a blue wave somewhere, and it's got to come to Florida eventually, but there is definitely a blue wave.
You tried to cut off my question. I was just about
to say, there is a blue wave. Bill, there's a blue wave.
I've been telling you guys this. You guys are finally catching on.
No.
No.
Harris,
you didn't hear what she said. Yeah. There's a blue wave somewhere. Yeah, that's what you said.
I needed to be in Florida, but it's somewhere.
It was purple before she jumped on board. It's leaning more blue.
Well, it's definitely purple. It might have been a not a more red purple, but now
you're right.
It's a very light blue turning very deep blue by the money alone.
I agree.
All right, is that it? Everything? Okay. So I will just share, as we talk about opportunities, as Larry was just talking about, everybody needs to come out. The Escambia Democratic Party is currently, as we have been, continuing to canvass every weekend and do phone banking. We are shifting our efforts come this week to doing canvassing in District 3. So we are starting with precinct 14, and we will continue that canvassing as we move through the rest of the election cycle, and then we will shift over to County District 2. If you have heart to see some change, we encourage and ask of you to join us as Escambia Democrats to one of our opportunities. We have, as I mentioned, we have opportunities for phone banking. We have opportunities to join us as canvassing. Every weekend there's something to do. This is not the time to sit along on the sidelines. This is the time to engage, make your voice heard, make sure that you make other voices heard, and get out to vote. As Jill said, this is an awesome time to be a Democrat. And I will just tell you, one of those ways is making sure your voice is heard and you get others that are like-minded, and those who aren't like-minded, but have the ability to be like-minded, get them out to vote as well. So we have those opportunities every Saturday, sometimes even Sundays. We're going to be picking up the pace, but we need your help. If you're around, please give us a call. You can reach us at 407-7997. Again, that's 850-407-7997. Or you can call or you can email us at escambiadems, that's ESCAMBIADEMS @outlook.com. Either way, call us. Our office hours we're open Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. We, too, are located at 2618 Martin Luther King Drive, Suite A. So please make sure you come out and join us for any of those opportunities. Now is a great time, and there's great excitement that we're going to talk about here in just a moment. But, there's an opportunity to come join us. And lastly, I just want to thank all of you all, the viewing audience, you all on the panel who came out and supported our turkey leg and barbecue event last Sunday. It goes without saying that when y'all come out, you come out, and we greatly appreciate it. We've had our biggest that was our biggest fundraiser in terms of funds raised to date. And we are excited about the opportunity. We don't just collect funds and keep them. We collect funds, and they're going all the way back out for the candidates. We're going to be doing slate cards. If we continue on this successful fundraising path, we'll be doing billboards so we can highlight candidates like Haley, like Ron Helms, and those that have an opportunity this November cycle to make some progress. But it's going to be up to you to get that done. So we say thank you for those opportunities, and just join us. Now, as Christina alluded to, we had 2 events that if you guys didn't make it, boy, you missed out. The Harris for President kicked off their campaigns in the state of Florida right here in yours truly, the Panhandle. We often talk about state or these larger campaigns not ever coming. Well, we had the opportunity, Escambia had the opportunity to be the kickoff for the Harris for President 100 Days cycle. We spent the Harris for President campaign, joined us at 1216 North. We want to give a shout out to Tommy Gunn and his wife, Tracy White, the owners of 1216, for hosting us. That event was great. It was well attended. We got some buttons and hand signs. And for those of you all who are asking, yard signs are coming. Just give it a couple of days and the offices will be there. And then we moved on down the road. I was about to turn it over to Jill, but then she just turned off her camera to Okaloosa County. And I'll let Jill tell you about what happened there.
So after having a wonderful time in Escambia County, we drove and Derek drove. I have to say that because I'm always in Escambia County. So it's so great when you from Escambia County come and visit Okaloosa. I know some of you think it's so far away, but as you see my face almost at all of your events, it's really not that far away, and we have a good time when we're there. So gratefully, we were able to go to Greg Chappell's Community Life Center. So a shout out to Reverend Cecil Williams for allowing us to move into that location. We actually had our first location was going to be at the place, which is a lovely place on Beale, but it only holds 120 people. 3 days into this, we were at 200, and the fourth day we were at over 300. So we had to move to a new location very, very, very quickly. We were able to go over there, set up, make it really nice, and welcome 250 plus people from Okaloosa County and the surrounding areas. So for Okaloosa County, you know, Escambia, you guys do that all the time. Val Demings came, you did it. Nikki comes, you do it. But for the smaller counties, it's great for us to have the energy that we saw in that room, that we saw the Divine Nine there. We saw Faith Base there. We saw community volunteers there. We saw people that had never been engaged before there. So it was an exciting time. Shout out to the Harris for President team, Brittany. What's her, the other two?
Jackson and Millie.
And Millie. Sorry about that. I went like this for a moment. I'm so excited. But they all did a great job. We got placards. Everybody got a button. I think my button's on. We all got buttons. And just the energy in the room. So it was good to just see what the United States of America looks like, what Florida looks like. So people of all different backgrounds, young, old. There was a little girl that was like 3 years old there, all the way up to people 80 plus in the room, screaming and raising signs, just energized for the possibility of saving democracy. And then on top of that, electing our VP, Kamala Harris, the first Black woman to be the president. It is amazing. It's exciting. And I hope that we're going to talk about all of the things around that. But to everyone who helped, because it did take a lot of us to get that all set together. We literally got the phone call, Derek and I, on Monday, I think, and we had to turn it around and have it done by Friday. So to be able to reach out to the community and find the locations, and then for each of you to share the information, to join us if you could, and for all of those that volunteered at both events, we just truly say thank you. We're excited, and we're not going to let that energy and that momentum. So if you came out for that kickoff, we want to make sure that you stay engaged and that you get involved in any way you want. Just don't go back home and sit on your couch. We need you to no longer, this couch is off limits until November 10th. Nobody's allowed to sit on the couch anymore. We have to be engaged, but you can do that by making phone calls, by doing postcards, by stuffing the literature that they have that needs to go out, by texting, just being someone who's calling people to tell them when the events are. There's so many things you can do, and you can do it right from home. Or you can go out and knock doors, as Derek said, on Saturdays. And sooner or later, even though we're in Florida, it is going to get cooler. I promise. It's awesome to knock doors in October because it's not as hot. But until then, we still have to do the work. So join us to knock doors. We'll make sure that it's after the sun goes down. At least 4 o'clock, I think, is when they go out. We tend to do the same. Actually, in Okaloosa, we go early in the morning. But there's just so much that we can do. It's so exciting. And again, just truly thank you for making Northwest Florida shine.
Yeah.
They cannot say that in a short amount of time. You know, Pensacola probably would have had 300 people if it was at night, but it was during lunch. And just for all of those communities, Escambia County, Santa Rosa County, and Okaloosa County to come together and show them that we matter, that we're here, that we're volunteering, and that we appreciate them appreciating us and all the hard work that we do.
Absolutely. Well, with that, you know, let's talk about this last week, what we've seen. You know, we were all on here last week. And while we were on here, the rest of the Black women in the continental United States were organizing and were on a call that was Win with Black Women. Jill, Christina, Cheryl, I don't know, did you all, after the show, participate and get a chance to sit and listen or do any of the stuff?
So I was on the call and I thought it was absolutely inspiring. It went till almost midnight. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was saying almost one. I know.
Oh.
Got off,
Like after midnight.
yeah, it was 12:30 when folks were getting off here. Yeah.
So yeah, it was incredible. And the energy, the speakers who came on, and the amount of money raised just was incredible, absolutely incredible. I mean, you had Black women from all over the United States coming together, talking about what this moment meant, how we, how we're going to make it across this finish line, how we are just fighting and then not letting go of the history and the impact of this moment. And so it was powerful. And I want to say, I'll have to look up the exact number for the money that was raised, but it was incredible.
1.5 million.
That was 1.5 million.
And I think over 44,000.
44,000.
But I got on probably after the show because I wasn't going to get on. But then Christina was still sending all these messages. So I was like, okay, let me just get on. And then you couldn't get off. And I was like 12:30. And I'm like, okay, we have to go to sleep. And they must have said, we're about to get off. But wait a minute. So-and-so Barbara Lee is calling in. Wait, Maxine Waters is calling in. They just kept going. It just never stopped. The energy was so, I mean, it just really made you like, okay, we can do this. If they're this excited, and they're going to make sure that the Florida delegates do the right thing and the other delegates. And that's really what they were doing. They were doing a call for, of course, money to support, but also for the delegates to cast their delegates to make sure that VP Harris was the nominee, the Democratic nominee. And so you just had different people coming in going, yes, we're going to do it. It's going to be done by tomorrow. We just finished ours, and we were waiting for Florida, and Florida pulled through finally. But it was just an exciting, I guess so Christina's always super excited because it's VP Harris. So, but when I say it's exciting, you have to know it's really exciting because I'm not as political as she is. And so for me to stay up at 12:30 on a Zoom watching other people that can't see you, so I could have just stayed there, went to sleep. But I'm like, wow, who is that? And oh my gosh, who is that? And wow, they're saying this. It was really, it was a time and a place where you just needed to be. And if you missed it, it's okay because they have a different call. They have another call on Monday, a call on Tuesday. There's a call every day. You can join and you can give money. It is amazing. I'm sure Derek's going to go to the next one and the next one. And then we have a list of all the things that are coming up next week. So it was just great. Thank you, Christina, for sometimes we get all these text messages. I'm like, are you still on? And she's like, yes. I'm like, okay, I got to get on. So thank you.
And then we moved on, well, let me give a first shout out to the CEO of Zoom. Because, without his assistance, this would not have been possible. They started with just a few folks on that Sunday call, and they had to move it all the way up to the chain to the Zoom CEO. So Zoom CEO and your people who are listening through this call, we say thank you because they got they opened it up, and he said, not a problem. Opened it up when they allowed 44,000, which at that point was a largest amount of folks. But then we move on to the rest of the week, and we move on to Monday night because Monday night the Black men said, no, you won't leave us out. We get in on that too. So, Mr. McIntosh, Bill, I know you all joined that call. Or what were your thoughts on that?
Well, it was just awesome to, like Jill was saying, you had all these different people calling in to talk to different political individuals and just people in general, movie stars, and just everybody was calling and pledging their support for our sister Kamala Harris. And, it was just awesome because at first I thought it was just going to be maybe 1,000 or so. But then when they started calculating, it was 10,000, then 20,000. It kept going. And there were people even signing up the next day after, watching the rerun of the show. It was 1,000 more sign up after that. I don't know how many more, but I know it was over 1,000 and some sign up the next day. So it has just been awesome to see the support that she has, and because at first I was kind of skeptical because you were hearing so much negative attitude from about Black men, which I never thought that it was going to be that many Black men vote for Trump anyway. But if you got 10 or 15%, that can hurt the margin error that need for her to get elected. But a lot of those individuals that was on the fence has now moved back onto the Harris side, so which is really great because some of the people was talking about that, and they like, okay, we're moving back to Harris now because they didn't like Joe Biden for some reason, although he's been a better president than most in the last 50 years and done more in the last 50 years than most other presidents combined, and did more to put Black people in the position of authority and power than anybody else. Judges, Supreme Court, the cabinet. When you look at the whole gamut of what he have done, it's been amazing. And and I'm wondering was that the reason so many people was after him as well. But I digress.
So what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I think inevitably the not only the country but the whole world knew that he had Biden won a second election, and whether he made it all the way through or not, that she was the next president of these United States of America. Roland Martin did one heck of a job. I saw Christina's post the day before that said I was part of that 44,000, and I was like, and then I read the comments and saw what it was all about. Then I got the text on that Monday. Said 8, then I was texting you, Derek. What is that Central Eastern? Man, you can please be specific because I almost missed it, but I did get on in time. But Roland did a great job of hosting that thing. Some very prominent people called in. I thought it was a little much on the frat talk, but that's neither here nor there. We want to reach Joe Citizen that isn't college oriented, educated, and all that good stuff. But it was electrifying. The energy, the momentum was great. I felt blessed to be able to be a part of it. Yeah, man, it's one thing Roland said at the top of the broadcast was you're going to see a lot of negative stuff in your social media feeds. Don't feed into it because it feeds the algorithms. I've done one better. When I see some foolishness, especially from Black men, I block. I ain't got no time. I ain't trying to hear that foolishness about our sister, man. It is time. The time is now. I don't care who she married, man. It's time for our sister to do what our sister's been doing for some 200-300 years, carrying on. And it's time for us to take this mantle back and take our rightful place at the table.
For hundreds of thousands of years.
Well, I'm just talking about the country that they call land of the tree, home of the grave, Fannie Lou Hamer says.
Okay.
Just for those who did get a chance to hear about it, those numbers, we talked about the 44,000 Black women. Men had 53,862 on their call and raised $1.2 million. And as the week went on, we saw every demographic do the same. But and I'm going to take a moment because we don't have to talk about it, but we're going to have to give a shout out to the white women on this call.
Yeah.
On that call.
across the
because
country. That call
y'all,
was
and then what?
that call, yes,
This
across the country.
audience, y'all
That
did
call
y'all
was
thing.
over 8 mil, man.
They had they broke Zoom with the number of attendees that they had on their call, which surpassed 200,000 individuals on that call. And in 36 minutes, they had outraised everybody in 36 minutes. Like, right? Not, so Black women, they were on for like 3-4 hours, and they got to their 1.5, and that's phenomenal. Black men, we were on for sometime, I think by 11:30, they were like, all right, we got to go to bed. And they ended the call, and they were at 1.2. But in 36 minutes, they had passed everybody. 36 minutes, they had done what they needed to do, and they still came on. They still continued on, and their totals ended up being $8.6 million over their haul. $8.6 million, which is, to me, unbelievable, right? So as we're looking at it, I am happy. I'm ecstatic for them, for the Harris campaign. But I say all that to say, what does that say? What does it say about the tide of the I guess the breadth of the country for this election cycle? What are we to think of?
Well, the beauty of it, Brother Derek, excuse me, is that all three of those groups that you called out are grassroots. Just the numbers are there, should I say? Because when we're not talking about PACs, we're not talking about organizations, but we're talking about grassroots, and that equate to numbers, and that equate to voters. So that's what's so electrifying about this whole doggone thing, man.
I just want to add just for a second, Mr. Larry Williams, you're shaking your head over there. You feel free to jump in, like you're a guest. Like you can jump in. This is a conversation for all of them.
Larry thinking these jokes crazy.
I want to share so for those of you all who don't know what the donations look like in this last week, but when we're talking about the campaign donations, they went up 650%. Individual donors for Harris over 1,550%, which, when you look at it, it's like 100% of the match. So, they are outdoing. And Act Blue, for those of you all, I know we heard Mr. Williams talk about Act Blue. For those of you all who aren't familiar, Act Blue is the online giving source that Democrats across the state and some super PACs and 501c3s utilize to intake their contributions. It's the left-leaning fundraising tool. They're up 2,800%. So to me, that says that the momentum is shifting, right? We're seeing it. It is absolutely amazing. I think I'm a little bit more excited than what I was, honestly, a month ago.
Of course, surely.
Yeah,
we were on thin water a month ago.
Right. We're trying to put on the smile like we can do it, but we were like, oh Lord, can we
would
do
have
it?
done it now, Derek. I believe we would have done it. It was going to be a fight, but I believe we would have done it. But I'm more confident now that we will do it.
Yeah.
I think it answers that question that everybody had initially when they made the announcement. Is America ready for a Black woman to be president? I think with the numbers that the calls, all three calls have made, I think we are ready for a change.
It's been answered. You're right, Ms. Moran. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Now we could talk about it. Like, let's talk about. Go ahead, Jill. I know she finna. What you finna say? I feel like I know what you're about to say, but what you gonna say?
Larry, come back to the center when you out of the screen.
Sometimes I have to pull us all back into reality.
I knew it.
I'm not taking us out of the phenomenalness.
Yeah.
But do not get too comfortable, Bill Snow. Don't get too comfortable, Cheryl, because we live in a world that is very full of racism. And although we see all of that energy, and I do believe that there were some, just like Jerry said, that were on the edge, that were like, I can do this now because I see the future. I believe that they're there. But I will remind you, not too many years ago, that we had Bill Nelson and Andrew Gillum. And everybody, black, white, purple, pink, loved Andrew Gillum. Bill Nelson lost by 10,000. Andrew Gillum lost by 30,000. 20,000 people could not check that box. Some of them black, some of them Democrats, some of them Republicans, MPAs. So let's not get comfortable. I'm not saying take away the excitement, but I don't think that we can say, I wish I could, Cheryl, but I don't think we can say that America, we're ready. We've been ready. We were born ready for a black president, a female black president, but America ready? I'll believe that as we shut down the other side more and more and more, I would say that we are showing that the base and those that were unsure are ready. Now our job is to help change those who have the inability to look past the color of your skin or your genetics, and hope that in her VP pick, that will bring them over. But I'm not quite ready to say, nor do I think we should, just because there's money coming in. Money doesn't mean votes. Votes mean votes, and only votes mean votes. Solamente. Votes.
I totally agree with you on that, and not that that she has it in the bag, right? We have a lot of work to do, but it does speak to a lot of the naysayers who didn't think that she would get that much support from white women. And we know from the numbers that if we can get the support of the minority communities, I mean, the black, brown, all of us coming together, and we can get the left-leaning white women and some of the no party affiliations and other folks along, we can see a path to victory in this. But it is going to take some work, and I think that it energized the base to a point that they're ready to get on the ground and get going on getting her in office.
That's absolutely no complacency. I agree wholeheartedly, Jill. We've got to fight ahead, but the momentum is strong. The campaign is headed in the right direction. There is excitement, justifiably so. But no, ma'am, not by any means do I think that she is president-elect yet. But I do, in my heart of hearts, with the polling. I know polls don't vote, people do, but it's a neck and neck.
Whoa, wait. Breaking news. What's the date today, Derek? Today is Sunday, July 28th, 8:38 p.m. Central Standard Time.
You heard it. I heard it too.
And Bill Snow said that he is going by a poll. What?
No. Polls don't vote, people do.
Come on, tell us what.
How did you miss the polls don't vote, people do?
I'm just saying, you are
did you miss that?
Voting the poll and agreeing with it, that they are neck and neck. I'm just saying, breaking news right here.
I thought you had a feed that came up.
What's going on here? This is how momentum works. It changes Bill Snow into saying what? That a poll is possible to be true. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, Mr. Snow.
I finished that with polls don't vote. People do. How did you miss that? Look, man, I'll be the first one to say that them Fox polls are people that are Fox viewers that are polled. That's my only point. But the AP poll that I'm referring to are general polls, not Fox polls. What the media is feeding us subliminally is Fox polls, and that's where we get tripped up. Now, I will say CNN had a believing Hillary was the surefire. I agree. But polls, no, man, we can't listen to the Fox polls. Can I make an addendum there?
Clarify. I'm just saying.
I was going to jump on it. I was like, wait a minute. When you said breaking news, I was like, oh, yep, you heard it too. I heard it too. Hey, it wasn't just you. Now, I think.
Did y'all see the golf court caught a crew down there in Trump's backyard.
Yes.
You know,
Golf
the
cart.
golf cart crew.
Oh, yeah,
They-
we're gonna talk, yeah.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead, Derek.
I was just gonna say, Jill brings a point that Cheryl made that America might be ready, and Jill's like, yeah, well, I don't know. Let's talk specifically about Florida and what they're doing, right? So, because that is the state in which all of us reside, right? So with that, Jill will say, this is
Jill?
not a blue state. Jill will say it's not a blue state. Jill will say it's not going to be a blue wave, right? Here in the state of Florida. All right. She was about to come off mute until she said, well, yeah, I do say that.
I didn't know you wanted me to talk, but you were like,
Yeah.
since you were doing it, you got
Jill's gonna say, nah, it's not a blue state. It's what you say, it's a blue wave somewhere, but not here, right? Now let's talk specifically about Florida. We saw, to Mr. McIntosh's point, everybody see that the villages, right? The villages. I just want to emphasize the villages. For our viewing audience who do not know where the villages are, the villages is, rather, I should say, the villages is a community of senior, super red Republican voters that are in between like Ocala and Gainesville. They're right off of the I-4 corridor, right? I'm sorry, the Turnpike corridor. That's as soon as you get off. They drive golf carts. They go everywhere in golf carts. They're full of golf carts. Just golf carts, folks. And I would probably be okay with saying it's a super white community. There's not a lot of diversity, right? It made national news to see that golf cart chain of well over 300. I heard some cases 500 from some of the candidates, but I'm going to stay with 300 because that's the prevailing number that I saw. 300 golf carts riding around the villages, which is a lot of carts. When you have 2 and 4 folks on a cart, that's a lot of carts, right? Doing a parade all up and through for Madam Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, when we talk about, if you remember the villages made our news because they were, when the vaccine first was out here in the state of Florida, DeSantis took the vaccine and gave the vaccine folks to the villages first. They did all of the COVID-19 preparation and stuff strictly in the villages, and everybody else got theirs afterwards, right? Well, those folks were just up and boogieing with Kamala Harris signs. Now, Jill will say, and I would agree, that there are Democrats in the villages, right? So it's not as if they don't exist. We have clubs, Democratic clubs that are called the Villages Democratic Clubs. So we know they are there. But is this an indication of where Florida is turning? Could we perhaps see a blue wave in the state of Florida? Before you roll your eyes and say no, Jim. What do the others think? Cheryl, I see your hand.
I think, in fact, we could see a blue wave because in addition to some of the people on the right leaning more left, we do have a lot of transplants and people who are coming from other areas moving into Florida. This is in Northwest Florida specifically. It is a military town. So we have a lot of people from all over coming, even if it's just for a year or for their, for their tour.
They vote with the state they're from.
Right. So you there's a lot of diversity and there's a lot of change. And I've seen a lot of change in the demographic of Pensacola, specifically over the last 5 to 7 years. It's a younger, more progressive group of people. And that old Southern train of thought is becoming, it's there and it's prominent, but it's not as prevalent maybe as it once was. So I do think there is hope for some more Democrats to step up.
Well, I'm going to say when you look at the non-affiliates, the independents, and others that are out there, I think she has a great chance of winning Florida. I think it may not be a total blue wave, but I think it's going to be blue. I believe, and I believe it because of there are people who are looking at, and they are doing the contrast and in comparison, and they are looking at the stupid things that are being said on the other side. You already done
They're
alienated
helping us.
the women in this country by talking about women who do not have children. That's a huge group of people out there who are delaying pregnancy and all of them having children to their career is intact. So for people to be saying what they saying, then the abortion issue, they really, I mean, they are almost saying, we want these women back in the kitchen, barefooted and pregnant. We don't want them out there. We want to take all away their rights. We want to take it back when when women couldn't even have a credit card unless the man said so. I mean, it's just so many things that are going on now that they want to really want to take it back for white women.
For women.
If it were just black women, it would not be a problem. Black and brown people, it wouldn't be a problem if they were the one that just delaying or having abortion or whatever. You could go just about anywhere and get it done. But since they're looking at the demographic, the democracy, the racist democracy, looking at the demographics. For the last 2 years, more brown and black babies were born. More of them were born than white babies. And so they want to put a stop to that, because they know in the next 10, 15 years, maybe, 18 years, it's not going to be a super majority in the country. It's going to be, somewhat of an even kill of people who are living in the country. And and that's what those people are afraid of. And they don't want to share power in the country. In other words, there are some people who will never want to share power in the country, and they'll do anything. They even try to burn the country down before they do it. So,
So
Go
I
ahead, Christine.
So I was going to say, if we look at the last few elections, the independents have really, really decided the election. And so it's really hard to judge which way it's going to go. I remember last week, almost right after the show, we had just learned, learned about, Joe Biden stepping down. Kamala Harris is going to be the nominee. And, Jill was talking about, her daughter. My son came home. It was after the show, and he was like, so Kamala's going to be the person. And I was like, yes. And then he was like, Trump got shot, and then raised his fist. And then all I could hear is everything Jill was saying about young people. That's all I could hear. But I'm really seeing a shift, and I'm hoping it's right. I hope it's not just because I'm in my bubble. But I think I am seeing a shift and the surge with young people. And I'm really, really hoping that will translate. But I think the actual Florida election is going to be decided by independents and making sure Democrats get out. So it's really twofold. Democrats have to get out and have to vote. Independents are going to be the deciding factor, and really trying to shift some of those folks who are Republicans and unhappy with their nominee.
It's pretty amazing that Kamala has set records as far as donations are concerned. The right has the audacity to complain that she's not spending the funds. And she's thinking, hey, I'm riding this free wave of publicities. Why spend my funds? So Vance or 45's VP choice after all of that time could not have been worse. He is just like 45. All we have to do is continue to stick that microphone in Vance and 45's face, and the race, I think, will be won. They are complete idiots, both of them.
So
I
Larry,
disagree,
before I
Bill.
say anything, do you want to share anything before I share?
I'm sorry?
I was asking Larry if he wanted to share anything. I didn't want to, Derek was giving everybody the opportunity. before I
Right.
say anything, so I want him to be able to jump in.
Okay, thank you. I've been thinking about it the same way you all are, right? So we're all on the same page and no need for me to be redundant. But here's one thing that I want us to think about. I'm going to be presumptive. I'm going to say Kamala Harris will be our next president. We already know we got to do the work. We do the work, we'll get the job done. She's going to be a president for all the people, just like Barack Obama was. Here's my concern. We didn't necessarily have an agenda when Barack Obama was president. So as we get ready for Kamala Harris's presidency, what's our agenda? What do we want as an advocating body who helped her get elected in our communities, in our states? And so maybe that's a little ahead of the schedule, but that's an important part of once she gets elected, because those who have given her money, of course, they don't give money for nothing. Then those who served her at high levels, well, they're going to get some appointment out of the deal. But the people at the ground level who are going to do the yeoman's work and go back to the communities in which we live, what would be the agenda for us, whether it's economics, whether it's environmental, whether it's criminal justice reform? What are our issues that we want to see different on the other side of a Kamala Harris presidency in our communities as we go forward and do all of this great work to make her the first one and change lives for generations to come in our children and in our children, black boys and girls and brown boys and girls, and to see America as it truly is. Because this is our generation. Quite honestly, Kamala is, she's my age. So the next generation is my children, right? So they need to get excited, like, hey, it's your turn next. So you need to come on board, learn what we got to do, so you'll be ready to do it here shortly. And those are my comments. Thank you.
After saving,
Clear, when you say we, you mean Black, correct? Our community, correct?
just
Black
period,
community.
people, period, I think is what you say.
No, I'm talking about you said we didn't have an agenda. Was that Black?
I'm particularly talking about Blacks. Yes, absolutely. As it was when Barack Obama was elected, he did an excellent job. She's going to do an excellent job, but we didn't necessarily want anything in particular for the leverage or for the votes that we have given him. And I don't necessarily know in particular that we received anything. And so it could be, again, with Kamala Harris, we'll just be proud that she's the first and she's Black. Well, no.
You have to remember when President Obama took over, we were losing like 100,000 to 500,000 jobs a month. He had to dig the country out. He had to save the country, and they were fighting him tooth and nail because he were trying to dig the country out of the ditch that he talked about. You drove the car in the ditch, and now when I pulled it out, now you want the keys to the car. But you were willing to let the car sink, stay in the ditch. And, only, he didn't get no Republican. I think he had one Republican vote on the bill that he passed to save America. Then he was trying to get the health care, which helped all of us, because now when you look back, it used to be you had a limit on how much insurance you could get, and then you had a limit on how long you could use your insurance. I think it was up to $800,000 or something like that if you got sick and you was out, you know. So through the Obamacare, or the ACA as it's called, that was, you know, taken care of.
Then no president could get passed before him.
Right. It was just a whole host of things that were done, but it affected everybody, you know. When you think about it, you know, some of the things that he put in place as under the executive, through his executive order, because he couldn't get it done through Congress or the Senate confirmation or any of that. So he had to do a lot of things through executive order. And then, you know, changing the way, you know, the drug laws and all of that. It was a lot of things that he done that affected us that we don't even realize that affected us, you see. And then Biden came along and tried to make it a little bit better than that. So it was just a host of things. I think one of the major things that, you know, when we were fighting so hard and sending messages to him, it was to focus on the Supreme Court and the courts of the country. And the Democrat Party overall did not focus on the courts because they were thinking, you know, we're gonna win this outright. Came 2010 when the Tea Party came, while we were still salivating that, you know, President Obama had won, they were planning. And they had planned to get people in place, and the Jordans and all of them are part of that party that came out of the Tea Party. And now they are still there. But they were the one that was holding up everything. They are the one that allowed gerrymandering to become, you know, big as it is in the United States. You know, the voting laws that we had, you know, that Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act, Section 4 and 5 of the Voting Rights Act overturned during that period because of course, the Supreme Court. Because Mitch McConnell held up the people that he wanted supposed to have been put on the Supreme Court. If had not Mitch McConnell held up two candidates for the Supreme Court, we would have a different court, and we would have a different Voting Rights Act today. But now it's going to have to go through the Congress and the Senate and to be codified into law. And you don't have, you know, unless we get that through the Congress and through the Senate, and the you know, the Supreme Court, I mean the Senate move forward by moving the filibuster, then we're gonna, you know, that's the only way we're gonna get this codified into law. I'm looking at that, y'all doing the 2 minutes on me.
Yeah.
But our first agenda is to save democracy, Brother Larry.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. Just want to do my books real quick. And the first one is Kamala Harris, The Truth We Hold. You know, the American Journal, and Asa Hillary, The Maroon Within Us. I'm just going to do two, and Derek, I'm handing it back to you.
Well, thank you. I guess I would have leave Jill with one of our little things so we can talk about next week. Just for you all to know that Florida is indeed, in fact, leading the 50 states. And the amount of volunteers that have signed up in these last 7 days to support, I'm going to be presumptive as well, President Kamala Harris, as she takes her rightful place on this stage. So let's all do what we can. We thank you for joining us this evening. We thank you, Mr. Larry Williams, for joining us as well. For those of you all, again, please make sure that you go and vote starting August 10th for early voting and on the 20th for primary election day if you do not do a vote by mail ballot. We thank you for choosing us. We look forward to seeing you next week, same time, same place. Have a great week. Sign up to volunteer. donate some money, and let's get out this blue wave so we can say Jill was wrong. Have a great night, everybody.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
night. Good night.
Bless you
I
all.
need y'all to make
Bye, everybody.
goodbye. Good night.
Night.
Good night. Bless you.